Hey guys, guess who's back? Strokovich is back. Hopefully permanently. I don't really know for sure. This is kind of like a test run. I did a test upload last night on my phone, since I have to upload videos on my phone now through my cellular data, because we don't have internet right now because we just moved to a new house, as some of you might know if you've been following me on Twitter. I'm gonna make this whole video anyway and do all the editing and stuff and get it ready to upload, and then if I can't upload it, then I'll just wait. If I can, then perfect, I'll be back. I'm gonna do something different here. You guys voted, and so it shall be. The Hana Kimura video is going to be this one. Now, the reason why it's going to be different is I didn't know what I should do for Hana, sorry, trying to say their names correctly, but because Hana didn't start in Stardom like the other career of videos that I did. And for me to do a career of video of Hana, I would need extensive knowledge of what she did outside of Stardom, and I just don't know that. I don't follow anything outside of Stardom too closely, so unfortunately, I'm going to do something different. Unfortunately for you guys who are probably looking forward to a career of, I'm pretty excited about this because this is something I've been wanting to do anyway. This is what I wanted career of videos to be in the first place, but I just didn't end up doing it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be looking at Hana's career. I'm going to be looking at Hana as a character. I'm going to cover her arc through Stardom. I'm going to cover a little bit about her early life before wrestling, just what I know, and then I'm going to be talking about who she was in Stardom and then how she changed, because Hana has kind of a very unique character arc in Stardom, unlike most other people. So with all of that said, let me get to the video. We're going to start with her early life before wrestling. Unlike a lot of people in Stardom, Hana is actually a second generation wrestler. For those of you who don't know, her mom is Hana Kimura, someone who is a very famous and well known in the Joshi world. She is actually a legit MMA fighter as well. She has legitimacy and she had this cool aura about her. She kind of had a give no care attitude. Let's say it that way. Since I do not speak or read Japanese, most of her early career is going to be lost on me because I don't know any of it, and I just don't have reliable internet right now, and I can't really spend the time. It would take me like 10 minutes per page to just load it, and then that's even if it loads. So I'm only going to be saying what I know. She's been around wrestling her entire life pretty much. Back when Stardom had their New York show, one of the announcers is actually an old-time announcer who's been around wrestling his entire life, pretty much working. And he said that he remembers seeing Hana Kimura working the merch stand for her mother back when she was a child. So Hana's been around wrestling pretty much as long as Azumi has in terms of age-wise. What's important to know about Hana, though, is that she is actually only half Japanese. She's half Japanese, half Indonesian. Now, to a lot of us, that's not going to really matter, because who cares, you know? It doesn't really change who she is. But unfortunately, according to her, that was a hardship of hers growing up. She had a lot of difficulty growing up in Japan, being only half Japanese. And that's actually kind of important for her character because it's shaped who she is right now. It doesn't really affect her earlier characters, but who she is right now and what she's trying to do in Stardom can really be connected right back to her hardships growing up because she's only half Japanese. Hana's debut was March 30th, 2016. Now, don't get used to any dates being thrown around. I have a couple in here, but most of it's just going to be me telling you what's happening fluidly instead of just spouting dates. Now, I chose to say this date because it's important. It is her debut, but what's important is that she didn't debut under Stardom like most others. She actually debuted under Wrestle One, who were the promotion that actually trained her. Now, for those of you who don't know too much about Wrestle One, I actually don't know too much about Wrestle One myself. But what I do know is that their women's division is pretty much non-existent. They have currently only like a couple women actually signed there, and from my understanding, not every one of their shows even has a women's match. So Hana had to actually go to other promotions to wrestle, so her early career was actually more outside of Wrestle 1 than in. It wasn't until September 22nd that Hana would make her debut in Stardom, and a debut it was, as she was being heralded as the mysterious X, and they would not say who she was until she was in the ring currently for that match and got announced. Now, it was obvious to anybody who knew who she was that she was going to be a part of Odo Tai, since her mother, Hana Kimura, is actually one of the co-founders of Odo Tai. She and Act Yasukawa were kind of the two brains behind the creation of Odo Tai. They came together as a whole thing. I'll eventually do a video on Odo Tai, so don't worry about that. So Hana Kimura is now in Stardom, and she is on the same team as her mother, and so is Kagetsu. Kagetsu being another person who started outside of Stardom who would later sign. Most people who come to Stardom, and are so new, they don't really do too much, but within her first year of wrestling ever, and her before 2017, Hana Kimura, Hana Kimura, and Kagetsu would go on to win the Artist of Stardom titles already. Unfortunately, that wouldn't last very long, as by January 7th, Hana Kimura had suffered a injury to her hand region and made it so she couldn't defend her belt. Instead of just relinquishing the belts or vacating them, they decided to do the Freebird rule, which I don't know if other promotions call it that. I just know that's what it's called in the WWE. But it's basically a rule where someone from within your own faction can stand in for you in a title defense, because technically the titles are not just those three people, it's everyone in the faction. So Viper, back when she was a part of Odo Tai, stood in for Hana and became the third member for the match. Unfortunately, they lost the titles, and just as quickly as Hana got a title, she lost it. The important thing to notice about Hana's new character in Stardom, though, was that it was a complete 180 from her days outside of Stardom. Outside of Stardom, she had kind of gotten a reputation of being a babyface, girly girl type character. Her outfit was very cute. It was like a one singlet, white. It was very, very babyface. While in Stardom, she wore all black, super sexy outfit. She was vicious. She was mean. She was just a completely different character from my understanding. And that is kind of common in Stardom for people who jump around promotions a lot, is to have one character only for one promotion. That way, keeps things kind of fresh and makes people want to see you there, or vice versa. Inside of Stardom, her two main focuses for her character were sexy and vicious. Now, every part of Hana Kimura's character throughout her career so far, her looks have been a major factor. To some people, that is a downfall or a thing to bring up when talking about why Hana is overrated or something. But in my opinion, I don't feel like that's a very fair comparison, because it's not like she's from the Divas era of WWE. She's using her looks and her sex appeal, yes, but to say she's not a good wrestler too is just being ignorant. She uses it to enhance her character, not cover up character flaws. Honestly, the thing that got me into Hana in the first place was her looks. She was so attractive that I couldn't look away. But what got me in the door on the Hana fan wagon was her looks, but what kept me there was her viciousness in the ring. There were no others in Stardom at the time who were as vicious with their moves as Hana Kimura. Everything she did just had this murderous intent behind it. When she took people down for her ground octopus hold, I cringe every time because it just looks so painful. She definitely deserved the recognition she was getting at that time. But unfortunately, being a part of Odo Tai is not always a good thing, as it definitely helped her. In some ways, it definitely hindered her as well, because Odo Tai is just a group of master class charismatic people. And it's really hard to stand out when you're being surrounded by people who are just as charismatic, just as entertaining as you. For example, that's one of the reasons why I don't think Azumi should go to Odo Tai, is because I think she wouldn't stand out like she does in Queen's Quest. And that was the problem Hana was kind of having in the beginning. That is until the time period where Tam Nakano decided to join Odo Tai. When she joined, her and Hana hit it off very well, and they had this dynamic that really made Hana stand out. She was still the same as she always was, but she had someone to bounce off of now. So while Hana Kimura was second in line in Odo Tai, she was winning belts with Kagetsu, while having very funny comedy acts with Tam Nakano, and that even amplified even more once Natsu Sumire joined. And Tam and Hana both teamed up against Sumire, actively trying to hinder her in matches because they were unhappy with another visual being joined to the team instead of someone with wrestling ability. That all got swept under the rug eventually, and they all become very big friends, but Hana was definitely hitting a stride. She was in the top of her game. Everyone loved her. She was getting much better at wrestling. She was someone you just couldn't look away from. That's when the change happened. Late 2018, Hana Kimura decides to go on a world tour of sorts, with her last stint being in Mexico. While in Mexico, she got very close with Mary Apache and kind of changed her look quite a bit. It was a drastic change. It was a kind of look that can only be described as cyber goth. She had dreads, she had bright colors, she had poofy leg things. It was, in my opinion, you guys already know my opinions on early Hana Kimura. I have a whole video about why I hated it. Now, I wasn't the only one to hate it though. When she came back, she was different. She had a lot of potential. She had a very great storyline. She came back and she turned on Odo Tai, causing Kagetsu to lose in the 5-star Grand Prix against Tam Nakano, and basically turning her back on Odo Tai altogether and leaving them. This was a great storyline. I was really excited about it, but then Hana Kimura showed her new wrestling style, and unfortunately that was a complete bust. I have a whole nother video about that. It'll be in the recommendeds at the end of this video. Go watch them if you want to know about that period of Hana. I'm not going to go into too much of it here. Unfortunately, this new wrestling style was not well received. She was no-selling everything. She was acting really cocky, and she was just a huge bitch. Okay, it was really, really unflattering and unentertaining. People who no-sell should be dedicated to just monsters. Viper, Big Show, Andre the Giant. People who are big compared to their other wrestlers. Hana Kimura, while tall, is not big compared to the other wrestlers. So her no-selling everything, acting more like Mary Apache, whereas she would just go through the motions of the wrestling match instead of making it fluid. It was a really big turnoff for a lot of people. And to Hana's credit, she listened. As far as we can tell, she took the feedback she got and she handled it with grace. I didn't hear her one instance of her complaining or being angry that people didn't like her new character or trying to fight back by doing it longer. She changed. She completely revamped her character. The look was still the same, but the character was different, and that is what is important. And that is going to lead us into the final stretch of Hana's career right now, which I deem one of the best parts of her career and probably one of my favorite characters in wrestling right now. Hana completely redeemed herself. If you want to know exactly how she did, I have another video which I'm going to have in the recommendations here talking about that as well. So she completely revamped her character in terms of wrestling style and personality. One of Hana Kimura's biggest traits is that she is charismatic. She knows how to talk. She knows how to elicit a response from you. And with her old character, she got rid of that. And that was a huge disappointment because one of the things everyone looks forward to is what Hana is going to say next, what Hana is going to do next. And with her new revamped character, she was back to that, but it was different. Instead of being sexy, vicious, she was hot, cute, goofy. It was kind of a strange thing in the beginning. I was a little hesitant on accepting that. I talked about that in the other video, but she has refined that into one of the most entertaining things in wrestling right now. She is so perfect at being goofy in a way that's not cringy. You know, that type of people who try too hard to be funny or too hard to be outlandish or different, and it just comes off as off-putting. Hana never had that problem, and she still doesn't to this day. She knows how to pull it back when she needs to and let it out when she needs to. She knows how to say things on the mic to make you laugh. She knows how to say things on the mic to make you gasp. She knows how to do things to make you inch closer to the edge of your seat. She is, for all intents and purposes, a star. She has everything she needs. The only thing she's missing right now is experience. And this leads into what she's currently doing. Hana's heritage is important, and I brought it up because it completely directly connects to what is going on right now in Stardom. She is trying to create a safe haven for foreigners in Stardom. When she signed to Stardom, one of the statements she gave that was translated was that the reason why she chose Stardom was because Stardom seemed to be the most inclusive when coming to foreigners. They always accepted foreigners in there, and they let them be in there and be a main part of the show. And with Hana's background being a part foreigner who kind of got a lot of crap for it growing up, she really connected with that, and that's why she chose Stardom. Now, I'm sure there are other different reasons in terms of money, contract, creative control, things like that, belts maybe, but she said one of the reasons was that, and that's why she didn't decide to go somewhere else. That leads into her last arc, the International Army, where she tried to create a group for foreigners. Two of the first members were Bobby Tyler and Sadie Gibbs and Jamie Hayter, before Jamie Hayter betrayed them and defected to Odo Tai. This would go on for a while, where they were kind of they were basically the Team Jungle of this year, where they're a group, but they're not officially recognized, sort of. So there were the four main factions and then International Army. That was until the 2019 draft, where Hana Kimura was able to defeat Jungle Kiona in the last part of the elimination match to determine the teams, and basically destroy John from being a team and now having International Army be an official faction. What happened next was pretty shocking though, as her first pick was Jungle Kiona, which to a lot of people might have been surprising, as not only did we not expect any kind of Japanese women on there, Hana Kimura did just destroy Jungle Kiona's entire faction. And for her to pick her first really meant a lot to people who were sad that John was gone. After the draft though, they kind of realized that majority of the members are actually Japanese women wrestling in Stardom right now. So they decided to change the name from International Army to Tokyo Cyber Squad. And everything you need to know about Tokyo Cyber Squad is that they are goofy, fun, and original. And honestly, they are Odo Tai back in 2018. They are what brings you to the show now. They're the new, fresh, funny thing and entertaining group. The one thing they try to spread is a very positive message that I'm actually a big fan of, and it's everyone is different, everyone is good. Their whole philosophy is that people are different and that should be celebrated. It should not be hindered or made to conform within the lines. Now, as Tokyo Cyber Squad has gone on, more of the members have kind of started morphing into a certain type of style, but they all still have their individual personalities still intact, and that is very important, in my opinion, in Stardom, since all of the other groups, most of the groups tend to essentially brainwash their new person into acting and thinking exactly like them, and their personality they had from the other group is completely gone. So it's very fresh to see a group celebrating individuality instead of disliking it. With that said though, they are not all kid-friendly, as they are the primary reason Stardom has pretty much gone R-rated now. they have spouted more F-bombs this year since their creation than all of Stardom's existence, I believe. Not only are they dropping F-bombs now, QQ is dropping F-bombs now because of Konami and all of that back and forth. So while Hana is doing a lot of positive things, she's also changing Stardom quite a bit. And I, for one, am definitely for it right now. It hasn't reached levels where I feel like they're tarnishing Stardom. I feel like they're just, moving on to the next step. Right now, Hana Kimura is the current holder of the Pink Artist of Stardom title. They just recently won it from Stars, and I believe they're probably going to have a long run just because they're a new team. Hana's a new signee. They want to give Hana something to kind of leave her legacy. And with the triple belts, all they have to do is defend it 5 times, and they got the record. So Hana Kimura's run in Stardom has been nothing short of crazy. She has such a dynamic shift of character and story arc compared to everyone else that it's pretty mind-boggling. And the fact that while she was doing most of it, she was acting completely different outside of Stardom is just even more amazing. She's pretty much a star, and right now she's in my top 4 favorite wrestlers in the world altogether. That's not on ability or anything, that's just me personal favorites. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this new style of telling a wrestler's story. If this is well liked, I can actually do these a lot faster than the career of videos because I don't really have to sit down and pretty much watch every single important match they've ever had. And I could just talk about their story as it goes on and, skip the boring parts, leave in the interesting parts, things like that. I prefer things like this, but I can see why people would like the career of videos where they see exactly which dates and what time frames they're doing everything instead of it just being told as a story with no reference to when exactly the time frame is. So let me know in the comments, and I hope I can upload this video, and if I can, I am back, so I'm glad to be back, and I hope good things in the future. Hopefully when I get internet, something big will happen. Recently something pretty cool happened to me on Twitter, and I don't know if it's going to play out, and I don't want to say anything about it just because I'm the type who doesn't like to say things before I know for a fact they're happening or they've already happened. So let's hope.